The purpose of Wealth Talk is to educate, inform, and hopefully entertain you on the subject of building your wealth. WealthBuilders recommends you should always take independent financial, tax, or legal advice before making any decisions around your finances.
Welcome to episode 143 of Wealth Talk. My name's Christian Rodwell, the Membership Director for WealthBuilders, and I'm joined today by our founder, Mr. Kevin Whelan. Hi, Kevin.
Hello, Chris. Good to be with you again. Sad to say, though, I'm on location. I'm actually at Lingfield Racecourse today. So if there's a little bit of chitter-chatter in the background, well, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no, nothing to be sad about there, but we can hear you loud and clear. And today we have a guest joining us who is Stephen Moss, and Stephen is the MD of the Sourced Group. And we really like the model that Stephen's put together here, don't we, Kevin? Because it's it's really kind of combination of things that help to create a recurring revenue business.
Yeah, well, look, we're big fans, aren't we, of the concept of building wealth in multiple streams of income, hence the 7 pillars. And have a listen as you get to sort of really take into account what Stephen is saying. There's a combination of different pillars here. There's IP in there. There's definitely recurring income business model there. There's property there. There's joint ventures there when it comes to attracting investors. It's just a real good example of how a business owner, intelligent application of good thinking based on previous experience as well, has led Stephen to create a very, very powerful model, not just for him, but also for his franchisees.
Indeed, yeah. So definitely some lessons to be learned. Think about the 7 pillars as you're listening to Stephen talk, and we'll come back afterwards with the debrief. All right, let's head on over to our conversation with Stephen Moss. Stephen, very warm welcome to Wealth Talk today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Christian. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Good friend of WealthBuilders, and I know you know Kevin very well. And really looking forward to hearing about your business today, Stephen. So why don't we begin there and just give us a little background to yourself and Source Capital.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Stephen Moss. I'm the founder and MD of Source Group. So we launched in 2017. I've been in the property sector for about 21 years now, so getting old ultimately. But yeah, I've had experience of growing businesses and selling businesses, and we're looking at different models that we can enter into the franchise, introducing the franchise model into the property world. And it's been a challenge, but very, very rewarding, really exciting, lots of really good things going on. And it's kind of opened up our business in terms of we're now in a situation where we had a plan of rolling out different areas of the business. So we started with our franchise network. So a network currently over 160 franchisees across the UK, finding investment opportunities. And that led us onto our peer-to-peer lending platform, our capital side, and then onto our property side and onto our development side. So, it's nice how the business complement each other and work together and benefit investors as well. So it's quite exciting.
Yeah, well, already sounds like a lot going on there, Stephen. So give us an idea of kind of the size of the team and where are you based?
Yeah, so we're based in Warrington, just between Manchester and Liverpool, so where the sun's always shining. Currently 26 of us at head office, so consistently growing as a business and a team. So had challenges. I think we were just talking obviously about previous podcasts and talks when COVID kind of kicked in and we just took this bigger office space. We're now at a point where we're having works done in the office to build more offices and make more space for people and things like that. So yeah, exciting times.
Yeah, and you're not new to business, Stephen. So what's your background before you set up Sourced?
Yeah, so as I say, I've been in the property sector for 21 years. Very fortunate to join at an early age and learn lots of different strategy structures and go through different markets and changes. I also founded a business called Legal for Landlords. We grew that to the largest tenant eviction company in the UK, and then sold out before venturing into Sourced and putting the business model together from this.
Yeah, and what year did you launch Sourced, Stephen?
So it's 2017. So I was about to say that it feels like 20 years ago, but it's not that bad. 2017. So 4.5 years currently. Yeah, some of the things we've achieved, you kind of look back now and think, wow, you don't see it on a day-to-day basis because you kind of head down and lots going on. But when you look back at where we are and what the business is doing, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'd just like to try and pull out from you, Stephen, like any entrepreneur who's starting a new business, right? Generally, it's identifying a problem that exists out there and you think, hey, I can fill that gap, right? I can do something better. So was there something specific for you at the beginning where you thought, okay, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, I'd kind of looked at my previous business, we franchised. So I got to learn a lot about franchising. I really enjoyed it and really like meeting other people and their experience and working with people as a franchise model. When I sold the business, I was asked to contract at another platform, so a lending platform. So during that time, I got the opportunity to understand what the problems were, the issues. But this kind of light bulb moment was really that actually, peer-to-peer could really help property investors, property traders. There's a huge opportunity here of really helping and developing it. And it kind of came from the fact that when I sold my business, I started playing again with property and, developing little bits and things like that. And when I started reaching out to people, it was the same people that I'd dealt with, 6 years ago. They were doing the same thing. And they were giving me opportunities, and the opportunity might be to convert a HMO, and I'd make 150 grand, and they wanted a 5 grand fee. And I kind of sat with them and said, "Well, why don't you just do it? You've been doing this as long as me. I don't understand why you're not doing this opportunity." And the feedback generally was either, "Well, we've not got all the money, or the funding scares me, or the training, the experience." And that's kind of really where we started to see the opportunity to say, right, okay, well, if we can put these together, if we can create this franchise network that we support, we educate and we train, and then we bring in funding through a separate vehicle, particularly peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer is such an amazing concept because everybody in the chain is benefiting. Excuse me. So you've got investors that invest in their funds, they've got security, and they're getting a fantastic return. It's giving funds to borrowers, it's enabling them to do projects, so they're getting a great return from it. So it's nice to see that all kind of work together from our point of view as a platform. Yeah. So kind of disruptive, right? Early sort of spotting the technology, what's coming, and trying to ride that wave, right, at the beginning. Yeah, I think peer-to-peer, even now, it's still at a relatively young phase when you look at, the time that banks have been in place, and peer-to-peer still talks about a relatively new concept. It's not over 10 years now, but it's still exciting because you still see there's new formats coming out with the technology. So open banking is a great example, and it's great because where a lot of structures can't introduce this new technology because typically large banks, etc. Whereas companies like ourselves, we can jump onto these new technologies, we can implement them fairly quickly, and it means that our investors get the benefit of that straight away. Yeah, and I think what we love Sourced is because there's such a lot of parallels with what we teach at WealthBuilders, Stephen, in terms of our 7 pillars of wealth, looking to diversify across as many of those as possible. So maybe if we sort of look at some of those, and maybe looking at pensions and investments, obviously there's ways to invest tax-free using SSAS and SIP. So, how are some of your clients, members, using the platform to do that, Stephen? Yeah, so as I mentioned, our Source Capital arm of the business, we're a peer-to-peer lending platform. So we've just to kind of give you a bit of an update on where we are with that. So we've actually just completed the purchase of a business, which has meant that we're now directly authorised to the FCA. So previously we were authorised but as an appointed representative. So we worked really hard throughout last year to gain the changing control approval from the FCA, which has meant that we're now directly authorised. So huge step forward for the business, which is brilliant. What it means for our investors is, we can continue to grow the platform. We can continue to introduce new opportunities. So we work with investors that can invest in a number of ways. They can invest with cash. They can invest with ISA, but as you mentioned, pensions as well. So SIP and SSAS. So they can invest into a project. They get first charge security, and they get a return of typically 10 to 12%, depending on how much they invest or what the project is as well. So we see it as really good returns. A lot of our investors that invest with the pensions, they like it because our average is about 12 months alone. So seeing this short-term investing as well, so they can see it as a way of putting their pension into something, getting a good return for 12 months, while they're either looking at other opportunities or other ways, to build to build their wealth.
Yeah. And then, of course, on the other side of that is finding the deals. So tell us a little bit about the network of sources that you have out there, and how does someone, get involved with that if they're interested?
Yeah, so the concept ultimately is we're a franchise network. So we've got over 160 franchisees across the UK. And our franchisees go through training, support. We put on about 200 training days per year. So there's a huge amount involved in supporting them. But we also generate leads for them as well. So we send leads through to the CRM system. On the back of that, the franchisee will then go to the property, they'll analyse the property. And they've got a number of ways, a number of kind of exits. So they might turn around and say, right, okay, this property, it's a good deal. I'd like to package it and sell it to an investor. So we then put that onto our marketplace for investors to purchase. So anybody who's got a SSAS and looking for commercial properties, it's a great way of getting those introduced. Alternatively, they might find an opportunity and think, I'd like to do this opportunity. And they'll come to us from a capital point of view to inject funds into it to allow them to do the project. And again, it's, as you said from the beginning, it's a way of diversifying as an investor. So you could either purchase the property or you can invest some into loans and do it that way as well.
And then bringing that technology in, which is kind of looking at the IP pillar there. So tech that you guys are controlling and owning there. So tell us a bit more about the app. Like, why did you feel that was important? How does that work? And how can people use that?
Yeah, I think, we looked at our website last year, our property website. So predominantly what we were ultimately doing is we'd find the opportunities, we'd list them on our website, and it was quite basic in terms of it was just a listing. And it's quite scary, the volume of people it was attracting. So we get about 45,000 hits per month, people looking at these properties. And it wasn't fully kind of jointed in terms of we didn't have the communication ports. It wasn't easy to navigate. So we looked at it as, okay, do we do a new website and rebuild it from that point of view to make it easy for investors and easy to communicate with the franchisees? And when we started looking actually at an app, what it's meant is that we've got this new app which is on Android and Apple. It's Source Property app, so people can download it. It's completely free. It's kind of got like a Tinder feel to it in terms of new properties come in, you swipe left or right if you're interested, and then you've got a search for it as well, so you can go on and search properties. But ultimately as well, the agent, the franchisee, they have a separate app, so you communicate directly with them. Whereas previously we had the issues where getting hold of the franchisee or they're obviously out on viewings, etc. is a little bit more difficult. So it's opened up the communication a lot more, which has been great. I think one of the key drivers for us as well was the volume of property. You see a lot of people that enter this market or try and do an app or something like that. And generally, they don't have the volume of property that comes to the market. So you can imagine you go to the app and you check it, you download it, you check it out. It's got, say, 50 properties on, and then it's only getting 1, 2, or 3 new properties a week. And it's not really, it's not going to keep your interest, or it's not going to make you go back to the app. Whereas ourselves as a business, typically we're averaging about 50 new properties a week. So we're getting really good volume on it. It's only growing as our franchise network grows. Reservations are really strong. Feedback's really good. There are things that we're going to change. There are things we're going to develop. It's kind of our first version, but the feedback so far has been really, really good.
Yeah, no, it's a really great app. And obviously we know 2021, the demand for residential property was pretty insane. And how are you feeling or seeing the market changing as we have just entered 2022?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny, isn't it? Because we did a video, the beginning of last year, and we did a video to our franchisees, kind of talking about the market. We were like, look, we're in a bubble, it's going to burst, this is this, it's great for us, we've got all these opportunities that are going to come, we're in a great place. And it didn't, it just carried on rising and rising and rising. So, I think to some degree, yes, things have got to change. Obviously, we've got a slight change in the interest rates, we've got inflation, which is obviously a threat there as well. And, there's a mixture kind of happening at the moment. I think what's driving the market at the moment is just the lack of stock that's coming on. We're seeing it as well, like everybody else. There are less opportunities out there, but the property world, it's a cycle, and you've just got to look at history, what's happened, what stage you're at now, and what's going to happen next. And, it's exciting because ultimately, if we have a bad market, a lot of people are concerned about getting into property because they think, well, we have a bad market, that's it, I've lost all this money. And the reality of it is you're looking at always recovers. We were talking office this morning about Facebook, so I'm sure you've seen Facebook this morning. has dropped. I think it's 200 and something billion pounds wiped off Facebook stock market. So, and the reality of it is that will slowly recover. And the same happens with property. Watch it now be the kiss of death of Facebook. So maybe we shouldn't put this out until a couple of weeks later. But that's the reality. It comes in cycles, and we're seeing the same thing: shortage of properties, but we're still managing to get a good number of deals on the app. As I say, averaging 50. Our franchisees got lots going on as well. I think one thing that I'd say has changed the last couple of months is expectations of sellers. One of the difficulties we had the last half of last year was expectations of sellers was, we couldn't make deals work in a number of cases. The seller just wanted too much. And what we generally found is that somebody's been willing to pay it. It's gone through the process of valuation and it's not worked. So it's back on the market, and now suddenly sellers are a lot more open to it. I'll tell you a story that happened yesterday. I shared it with our franchise network in one of our Facebook groups yesterday. So we've got a hotel that I went to see last week. It's on the market 850,000. We're looking to convert it to 14 apartments. It's a joint venture with our franchisees. So we do a lot of joint ventures with the franchise guys. Went to have a look, great location, took the architect. Yeah, we can do this. So I did the figures. And while I was on the viewing, I said to the owners, I said, look, for me, it doesn't work at 850. I'm looking at 775. These are the figures. These are the reasons why, and explained it. Do you have any questions? Just to approach it at an early stage. Got confirmation from the architect, yes, we can do this. So put my offer in writing to the agent, 775, with the full reasons of why we've gone in at that, et cetera, et cetera. So didn't hear anything back. Then the next day we get a message from the agent, no, they want 800. On a lot of occasions, you kind of jump at it thinking, well, okay, the reality of it is it works 850. That's the reality. But we want to make sure we're building those margins in. Building costs are going up, things like that. So we've got to be careful. So I just kind of have this gut feeling of, I spoke to them, I met them, I'm pretty sure. So I managed to get hold of the seller's number, give them a call, not aggressive or anything like that, just being open to say, look, I came along, I was very thorough, very detailed with you, explain the situation, explain my numbers. And I kind of give this kind of 5-minute pitch without breathing of, these are the reasons why you should take my offer, the usual sort of thing. And then when I stopped to breathe, the response from the owner was, Steve, we're happy with your offer. We've told the agent we're happy with the offer. I think he's trying to get more money to increase his fee. And it was like, wow, you know what, that phone call and that's 5 minutes of my time. It's just saved me 25 grand, So sometimes it's not always the sellers. So just, I suppose, anybody dealing with property, just keep that in mind, particularly if you're new in the sector. So
yeah, very, very good lesson there, indeed. And I guess, that all comes with education and the experience, doesn't it? Obviously, at WealthBuilders, education, support, connection is really key. And I can see that definitely is, for you as well at Sourced there, Stephen. So as you say, your franchisees, they're getting that support, that education, so they can become better at finding better deals and working with investors, and due diligence, obviously a key aspect of everything there as well. So in terms of the community at Sourced, how have you kind of cultivated that, and why is that so important?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is driven, I hold my hands up to say a lot of it's driven from our team at head office. We've got a really good group of people that are very passionate and care about the brand, they care about the business, and a lot of the guys as well have been with us from the very beginning. So that shows in terms of when we do things like the induction training. So we had a training induction bring on, I think it's probably about 2 weeks ago. So we had about 30 franchisees there, which was fantastic. And that's not just new franchisees, that's people that are, either doing it together or things like that. So, but the kind of, everyone comes out of it really excited, everyone comes out of it really passionate. They can see the passion going through the trainers. The franchise director, Chris, does a fantastic job in sharing where we are, where our vision is, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve, how to do that, and what the steps are as well. So it's difficult because I think, when we started off, it's very difficult to get that balance in that, because what you don't want to do is kind of say, look, this is a get rich quick scheme, because it's not. Property is a long-term game, and trying to keep people enthusiastic about something when it could take 6 months to go through, or a simple flip could take 9 months because you've got to buy it, do the work, then sell it. That's quite difficult, because you're keeping people motivated for quite a long period of time until they get paid. Once they've been paid on that first project, then it changes, because the monies that you can generate from them, typically quite life-changing. So generally speaking, people need that motivation to get through it. Once they're through it and they've got that money in the bank, they can say, actually, that's the end result. That's what I'm working towards. And then they start pushing to gain it again.
Yeah. So, Stephen, what's on the horizon at Sourced? What are you excited about for the years ahead?
Yeah, we've just completed on the purchase of a company which has gained us the FCA regulation. So we've built our own peer-to-peer platform, our own new front-end website. So that's all really exciting. That's just launched. We've got the phone apps. We've got version 2, which is coming in the next 2-3 months. We've just agreed to purchase a technology company which is introducing new products to our franchisees, helping them identify opportunities quicker, faster, more opportunities, and linking all our systems together as well. So, big year plan for us as usual. Really exciting stuff, and also our developments. So we part of our business is our developments. A lot of SaaS investors support us with our developments, and we've got stuff dotted all over the UK, and the pipeline is phenomenal for the development side of it. And we're kind of putting new twists on things. So we're looking at ways that we can be more eco-friendly, more green, and do our bit, I suppose, ultimately. And it's quite exciting to see how we can apply that and using your imagination to come up with different ways. And we've got green walls, garden walls, urban forest, different things like that, which is it's quite exciting to put into place. Yeah,
really, really cool, Stephen. And for anyone listening now, if they want to check out Sourced, find out more, where's the best place for them to head?
Yeah, if you visit sourced.co, that's just CO. So if you visit the website there, you'll be able to see the different areas of the business. Just click on those and you'll be able to get a bit more information about the different sectors and find out more.
Great. Stephen, thanks so much for being a great guest on Wealth Talk today.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it, and look forward to the next time we speak. Thank you.
Okay, I think I counted 6 out of the 7 pillars where there's something going on there inside the business. So we can pull those out in a second, Kevin. Before we do that, let's head to Trustpilot. And we've had a review this week from Vineet, who says, I have had a really good experience with WealthBuilders. You'll have the opportunity to work with experienced people, that take a lot of pleasure in the success of their mentees. A great choice if you want to grow your business. And their prices are very reasonable too. What value do you place on quitting your job and living the life you want? So thank you, Vineet, for that very kind review.
Well, what value indeed. I mean, as Warren Buffett says, if you don't find a way to create recurring revenue, you'll be working till you die or till you can't work anyway. For sure. So I think, what price is it to pay to become financially independent? And, we're grateful that many people looking for a roadmap and they choose us to do that. But Stephen doesn't need a roadmap, does he? He's on track. Definitely, I saw the six pillars out of 7 there, and you could probably work hard and find the 7th one, because I think the one missing was probably home equity, Chris, home capacity. But I'm sure the franchisees, those who've recognized that they could build a wealth business model by becoming a franchisee. Stephen's a franchisor, and there's a big difference between a franchisor and a franchisee. We've never really talked about that before, Chris, in terms of the franchise model being a recurring income model. But just think about that concept for a moment. If you think about the idea of being a franchisor, what you're really doing, you've created a business and you're essentially passing on a share of that business. Instead of like buying shares, like you would if you're buying something in the stock market, you're actually creating shares. And that's so much more powerful than when you create something as opposed to when you just buy something that's already there. So by getting, I think he said 160 franchisees in the UK. Now, some of those probably, Chris, might have tapped into their home capacity in order to warrant the purchase of a franchise. Who knows? But I think, we've got a very elegant model there of all the different pillars working together. People can invest in peer-to-peer, not just with Source, but in many other platforms as well. As long as they do good due diligence, which is we recommend for everybody, you can invest in peer-to-peer, whether you choose to use your pension whether you choose to use ISA, which would be on the investment pillar, whether you choose to go into business doing it. You can see the IPs there and the fact that they're doing a lot of developments in joint venture arrangements with their franchisees and other developers. So I think Steve's definitely showing he's a smart entrepreneur, with an enterprise which is more wide-ranging than just a small business. For most small business owners, they tend to have a single track, one form of income, one form of return, trading time for money in a slightly different way, often kind of almost in a blind alley in some cases, seeing that the business is consuming them and they don't really see a way out of that. But I think Stephen has done something very different. He's created a business that works rather than him doing the work. I didn't get the sense that Stephen's doing all the work, creating the app, selling the franchise, training the franchisees, putting the training. He's not doing that. He's creating a business, and that's what makes it very exciting for him.
Yeah, so perfect example really of how Stephen's brought leverage into play there, Kevin. Obviously, when you have a business and you systemize it, there's a very clear set of processes, then that lends itself to that franchise model, which obviously Stephen's done so well there, but also leveraging technology, which he's done with the app. So making those properties that were previously available on the website now much more accessible for people, literally pull out their phone and have a look at any new properties that have gone live. And what I like about it is contacting the sources direct. So you've got that line of communication with the people who actually know all the details. So kind of cutting out the middleman in some respect there. So yeah, really, really good use of leverage.
Yes, and the other form of leverage you mentioned, as you touched on earlier on, Chris, is the leverage of a team. So if you're leveraging, you're generally leveraging in two ways. One is more people, because every time you add a team member to a proper, genuine enterprise type business, is they're adding value. So if they're adding value, the business is getting stronger. So you can feel that there, and also the leverage of technology, which in turn brings its own IP, because thinking that before the app, they would have had so many downloads on the website. But if as a result of having the app and making it so easy to use, you're getting, I think you said 45,000 downloads a month, was it?
45,000 hits on the website, yeah. And so, yeah, that's what led to developing the app, and now sort of 50 new deals coming through on the app.
Well, either way, he's bringing leverage into play. So forgive me for getting the numbers the wrong way around, but either way, it's an impressive outcome, isn't it, really? And this is a business designed by intention, not by accident. And I think Stephen's to be commended for putting it together.
Yeah, and of course, the joint venture pillar there definitely in play as well. So investors and developers coming together and joint venturing with some of those franchisees as well, who are finding deals, but they haven't got enough funds to do something with it. So that's where Source can step in and create a win-win for both sides.
And I was quite interested enough in this concept of the kind of franchising concept, Chris, to maybe see if we can find some other examples of that over the coming months, to show people that it's a great form of leverage when you can create the business in such a systemized way that people can see that by purchasing it, they'll be building their wealth. And at the same time, you're building your own. Very powerful.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got one guest coming up. I won't spoil the surprise in a couple of weeks' time, who certainly has built a very successful franchise business. But yeah, let's have a look and actually bring in a few more people. I think that'd be really interesting to cover that from a few different perspectives, different sectors. Yeah.
Yeah, so good, definitely a good interview today, Chris. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll let you get back to your coffee and your meetings, Kevin. Thanks for taking time out to join us today. Thank you as well for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back same time, same place next week.
Indeed we will, Chris. And until then, my friend, see ya.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget that we are constantly updating our resources inside the WealthBuilders membership site to help you create, build, and protect your wealth. Head over to wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership right now for free access. That's wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership.